Welcome to the Health Science Podcast, sponsored by the National Health Association. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Sabatino, and today I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me some three amazing people, three amazing women who are literally changing the vision in the world of health, marketability, all business, including even healthy vacation and travel. We have Kathleen Gage, who's the founder of Vegan Visibility, which is a company that really improves the visibility and marketing place in the business world for entrepreneurs, green businesses, and the like. VLynn Hawkins, who's got years as a digital marketing consultant, also vegan, and of course, Wanda Huberman, who is the Executive Director of the National Health Association, who sponsors this amazing podcast. And these women are bringing the entire vegan message of compassion, love, and all of that into the world of marketing, travel, health. So ladies, welcome. I'm so excited. Welcome to the Health Science Podcast, brought to you by the National Health Association, the oldest organization in the world, championing the extraordinary benefits of a whole plant food diet and healthy lifestyle, as well as water-only fasting. We believe that health results from healthful living and focus on evidence-based science that promotes the health of you and your loved ones, as well as the health of all animals and the environment. We feature experts from a cross-section of disciplines within the plant nutrition, vegan, psychological, environmental, and animal compassion sectors. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Sabatino, the NHA's Director of Health Education.
Great to be here.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
And I know we want to focus today on something that we all love, and that, of course, is the National Health Association, the oldest plant-exclusive organization in the world that's been, long before we had lifestyle medicine, long before we have a lot of these movements we see around us. This organization was there. It was at the foundation. It was screaming from the rafters this incredible message of health related to plant-based living and lifestyle. So whoever wants to begin, just let's talk a little bit about NHA and, of course, the incredible upcoming conference that's happening in a little over a month in June, on June 22nd, 23rd to the 5th in Cleveland, where we'll have the 75th anniversary of this amazing organization. It's hard for me to even say that. It's amazing. 75th anniversary of this really, life-changing, life-enhancing organization.
So
I think Wanda, you should go.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you. So thanks, Frank. I'm curious how many years you've been around with the NHA. I know
I've been around about that many. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, it's been truthfully. Look, I became a member of the International Association of Hygienic Physicians. I was actually certified in 1979, but I had been connected to that way of thinking and even conferences within the decade or so, half a decade before that. So we're looking at 45 to 50 years. Think about that. It's amazing.
That's fantastic. I know you and I go back at least 3 decades going to the conferences, and we've been hosting, the NHA has been hosting annual conferences since 1949. They were founded in 48. It took them that first year, and they were doing conferences with amazing success, and I'm hoping to have a fun little slideshow showing some of the history of the National Health Association at our upcoming conference that Frank mentioned in June. We're really excited to be doing some special things, bringing really world leaders to speak and teach. It's going to be a weekend of fun, of great food, of the best, most up-to-date science-based education you can have, as well as an ability to just connect with your community. How great to sit with 300 other people enjoying whole food, plant-based, SOS-free, excellently prepared meals for the entire weekend. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be. Long before I had any dreams of leading this organization, I was raising my children and going to these conferences. It's where I was getting re-energized every year and meeting up with friends, old and new, every year. So I still love doing it and would be going to it whether I was leading the organization or not.
Yeah, I want to emphasize too, being, one of the physicians and people that will be speaking at this thing, I want to really emphasize how personal and intimate it really is, because you have a chance every day to interact with these incredible doctors and speakers. They're mingling in the crowd. They're having meals with you. You know, it's ongoing communication and questions and dialogue, and just really a camaraderie that I have to admit I haven't found anywhere in any organization or any conference I've ever been at. So it is unique, and the message is really solid, and the entire program is just mind-bending. It really is. It really truly is.
Thanks. Kudos to you, Frank. You're right. The speakers and the doctors, yourself included, you know, they could easily go off to another room, say they need a breather. They work really hard preparing this incredible content for us, and they don't. They just keep themselves out there. If you decide you want to have lunch with Dr. Frank Sabatino and there's a seat at his table, you're welcome. We'd love it, as would Dr. Campbell and Dr. Fuhrman and Dr. Goldhammer and any of our other speakers. So that's really a neat thing. And now for the third year that we are bringing this to a virtual community, it's just extraordinary that people from around the world can watch this live streaming and get all the benefits of feeling like they're actually there. The NHA has partnered with Kathleen and VLynn to put on the virtual conference, and they are going to help bring this to an even better level than what you've experienced before, so that when we take a break for a meal, you're going to get to see what we're eating. If I can get the e-cookbook finished in enough time, I'm even going to give you all a copy of all the recipes. If you want to make something and feel like you're eating with us, you'll have that opportunity. You're going to be able to participate. We're going to have Q&As, and we're going to have somebody monitoring the chat session, and I'll come back and say, you know, if Kathleen's at the computer, she'll tell me that, you know, Patty from Arizona has a question about heart disease or whatever it is. And even as a virtual audience, you're going to be able to ask the Q&A live stream. And if you feel like you can't make all of it, I seriously doubt you're going to sit at your desk for the entire weekend. You're going to have the schedule ahead of time. Come live to what you can, and we're going to provide the replay for up to a year. So I love when I can get replays, and I don't have to sit and feel like I'm taking down a bunch of notes, because the information is so good, I don't want to miss it. You can just go back and listen to the replay. That's part of your purchase, and you'll have that available for at least a year and probably longer.
Kathleen and VLynn, let me. I want to emphasize, because I didn't say it in the intro, but you guys are, of course, the production team and the spirit behind the podcast itself. And I want to really emphasize that people know that. They get to see your faces. You're kind of like the wizard when they pull the curtain back in the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? I get to dance on the yellow brick road, but you guys are like behind the curtain making this happen. So I just want everybody to know about that, about you. But what I want to ask you, because both of you have extensive experience in digital marketing and doing that out in the world, and I love the fact that you're bringing, you know, this whole message of compassion and plant exclusive living and lifestyle to the work that you do. What is it that drew you to the NHA itself, and what makes you want to bring your expertise to making this thing be as big and as wonderful as it can be?
Ooh, that is a great question. VLynn, why don't you go ahead and then I'll jump on in.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. I have to say that probably as the baby of this group, the baby vegan of this group, I was drawn by circumstance. I was part of a team doing another project that was just before last year's conference, and got an opportunity to be at the live conference and experience everything that was going on there. And I have to tell you that I've been to a lot of conferences. I mean, I was 30 years in corporate America and executive space where, you know, conferences was what we did. And the last 10 years, maybe you would see them have a little more attention to a vegetarian lunch, if lunch was being provided. This was off the chain different. And I have to say that it was so different that it made me think this world that I've been in is so much bigger than I could have ever imagined, right? Meeting all of these doctors, from the scientists to the medical doctors to the nurse practitioners who are in this space, and trying to promote this message, which is the same message that I've been promoting for the last 6-7 years. And for me, being a part of this let me know that I wanted to play a bigger role. And I'm just really grateful to have been able to meet Wanda and Mark, to have been able to express where I was and where I was thinking that I would like to go and be a part of, with not just the organization, but furthering the message of living a whole food, plant-based, vegan diet and lifestyle to help save the planet, our children, people who are suffering unnecessarily because of what they eat that they don't know that they're eating that's bad for them. This is an opportunity for me, for a lot of reasons, as a minority, bringing diversity to the group, as a woman, bringing another voice to this work that's being done. This was more than just being a part of the marketing team. This was really an opportunity to step into this space and help to spread the message farther, wider, to an even more global audience. And I'm really excited to be a part of the virtual side of things, because I've been a nerd. I've been called nerd. And so I'm kind of in my element with the virtual piece of it. And it's going to be exciting for all of those who are going to be a part of the virtual environment. I'm not going to spill all the beans, but there are going to be some surprises that will be happening behind the scenes. And I think that the virtual will be, like Wanda said, an experience that you haven't seen before. So that's my take on it. I'm so excited to be a part of all of it. And Frank, you're doing an amazing job with the podcast and hosting the interviews. I'm enjoying being a part of watching them happen on the production side and seeing them again as they've been released out into the world.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump right in on that. And for the people that are watching, you're noticing that on the bottom of the screen, there's a URL that is streaming. That's how you access the page so you can sign up for the virtual event. And I have to tell you, having been involved in event management for well over 3 decades, and it's actually been closer to 4 decades, which I'm aging myself. But what I have to say about the NHA conference is it's like nothing I've ever experienced. And I had the opportunity last year to go to the in-person. I'll be there at the in-person this year and on the virtual. And if for nothing else, the food. Oh my gosh, the food is off the charts great.
The brownies, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, those brownies. I kept sneaking them up to my room, and it's like, I'm surprised anybody got brownies because I discovered them. But quite seriously, everything was SOS free, which for people who are unfamiliar with that term, it means no added salt, oil, or sugar processed. And so that's what I love about the NHA, is how healthy it is. And also about really seeing how global this movement is. And yet I've become jaded thinking that, okay, everybody knows about veganism, everybody knows about plant-based eating. And the reality is that even though it's been around for a long time, it's still a new movement, and more people are being exposed to it. So what really excites me to be a part of this is that I get to be a part of changing people's lives through the marketing that I do. Because a lot of people think that if you go into the plant-based market, that you're going to be a nutritionist. And that's not necessarily true. This market, this movement is all about diversity, like what VLynn said. It's about bringing lots of different types of people together to make changes in a positive way for people's health, for the animals, and for the planet. So for me, being a part of the virtual side and the podcast and all things NHA, I'm just really grateful because I get to be a part of a positive movement. So with that, Frank, I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, well, before we go on, I want to just take a few moments to hear from our sponsor, the National Health Association, and then we'll be right back to continue this amazing discussion. And now, to put a smile on the sponsors of the National Health Association, you're listening to the Health Science Podcast Show. I want to remind you to visit the National Health Association website, where you'll find incredible resources to support your healthy lifestyle, including plant-exclusive eating without added salt, oil, and sugar. Simply go to healthscience.org or nationalhealthassociation.org. Be sure to check out membership, which is $35 per year for those living within the U.S. and $55 for those living outside the U.S. You'll be amazed at all the information and benefits you'll receive. As a member, you're kept up to date on the latest evidence-based tools for health promotion. You'll receive the incomparable quarterly magazine Health Science, a beautiful 40-page advertising-free publication mailed to your home or offices, loaded with articles, recipes, inspirational stories, and interviews with world leaders in the fields of personal health, plant-based nutrition, water-only fasting, animal rights, and environmental support. And you'll receive details about life-changing events, such as the 2023 NHA Conference set for June 23 to the 25th, 2023 in Cleveland, Ohio, which will be the NHA's 75th annual NHA Conference. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Sabatino, and now back to the show. Welcome back to the Health Science Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Sabatino, and we're having this incredibly wonderful discussion with Kathleen Gage, founder of Vegan Visibility, VLynn Hawkins, the digital marketing expert, and Wanda Huberman, the Executive Director of the National Health Association, really discussing this incredible organization, the National Health Association, which for 75 years has been at the vanguard of everything pretty much that you're seeing today in the world of lifestyle medicine, talking about the impact of plant-exclusive living, all the lifestyle factors of activity, stress management, and so on. Nothing like this organization. And for too long, it really did not get really truly the credit that it deserves, because it's been fundamental to this entire movement in this country for really people taking charge of their health. And with that, Wanda, again, let's talk about the fact that not only is the NHA, the National Health Association, now having this history that it's had in helping people regain their health and understand the power that they have within themselves to heal, but now it's even moving in that direction of global destination travel and bringing this opportunity for people to see far-reaching parts of the world and still live and eat and be plant exclusive as they do that. Please speak to that, because I think that's a remarkable evolution of what's happening with the vacation and destination travel.
Thanks, Frank. I'd love to. So just having an opportunity to listen to what our members want has really been a great experience. And what so many of them had expressed to me is they love to travel, they love to be adventurous and active, but it's so hard to do that and still eat in a way that supports the healthy lifestyle that they've been learning through the National Health Association. So one of our life members, and we can talk later about our different membership levels, but one of our life members is a former cardiac recovery registered nurse, and now she's a travel agent. And the two of us started talking and we said, let's give it a shot. So for 3 years now, we've been working with cruise lines, and we vet these cruise lines. We work with very small cruise lines that will use the recipes we give them, cook the way we describe, that is exclusively whole plant foods, that's prepared without salt, oil, and sugar, learning to do this with herbs and spices so it's still full of flavor. And we started out with Windstar. I think the first Windstar cruise I went on was maybe 2021. We actually had another cruise, a European river cruise, prior to the pandemic. And quite frankly, those chefs really, we lost something in the communication. They did okay, but I wouldn't have gone with them again. Then the pandemic hit, and I was able to use lessons learned as I started working with the management of Windstar. And one of the lessons learned is you have to work directly with the chef. Windstar was really open to that. I've had many Zoom meetings with international chefs, because none of them are based in the US, as well as now I've been on board to work with them a couple of times. So we have a history now. They're really doing it fabulously. And in fact, they've done a couple of things. When the pandemic hit, they put all their, they put their 3 biggest ships that are big, 312 passengers, still small. They docked them and they re-engineered them so that they would be more environmentally friendly. They did things like changing out the engine and so it's less fuel impact, and doing a 0 carbon imprint. And an upcoming cruise we have in Tahiti, they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're donating tens of thousands of dollars to rebuild coral reefs. They put a spotter on every ship to watch for wildlife so they're not harming them as they move through the ocean. They're really serious about creating a healthier lifestyle through their travel to the ocean life and to the climate. And so they have partnered with us, and now you can go starting in June on any cruise of theirs anytime, whether you're with our group cruise or on your own. And their menus will have the NHA green leaf logo, and you can go with somebody, a family member that's not plant-based, and they can order off the menu, and you will be able to easily order off the menu. But even better than that is we're doing group travel. And if you go to our webpage, healthscience.org/plant-based-travel. I'll repeat that one more time. healthscience.org/plant-based-travel. And you'll see we have 4 cruises coming up between now and early 2025. I'm super, super excited that just this week I had a meeting with the head of sales of WindStar, and they are allowing us to do they are promoting actually themselves the entire ship, the entire 312 passengers on a plant-based theme, where all the food anywhere served on the ship, whether it's room service, whether it's at their cafe, or whether it's one of your main meals, is going to be whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free. They always provide that with our groups of anywhere from 20 to 100, but we now have 3 months, and if we fill that entire ship, they won't sell to anybody that doesn't come through the National Health Association. So it's a great time for us to show them that there is a market, they're a business. And as vegans and as whole food, plant-based people, if we want to have these services available, we need to support them. So you have 2 years, February 2025, contact me, look at my website, let us know if you're interested, and we can talk about it.
I want to emphasize too that these are not just your run-of-the-mill destinations. I know we just talked before we got on the air that, when I was a child, one of my big bucket lists was the first time I read Mutiny on the Bounty. I wanted to be the ship's botanist on that trip to Tahiti. And now, as you were mentioning that, it brought back all these childhood memories of mine and all these fantasies that I had as a child, and let them know that that's one of the upcoming trips. I mean, you're going to like really exotic destination points that really you really want to get a chance to see now, because as the environment changes and things and pressure changes, how many opportunities will you really have to get to these kinds of locations and to do it in a way that's so supportive of personal health, environmental health, species health. So talk about that trip to Tahiti. I want to at least mention that, because that's an exotic journey for me.
Yeah, I can't even believe that WindStar has made that available. It is one of their premier destinations. So February 16th to the 23rd, we are going to go to, I don't know if I'm saying it right, I think I am, Pepiti, Tahiti. You'll arrange for your transportation, you'll go to Pepiti, and you'll go a day or 2 ahead of time because there's always travel delays that are possible. We'll board the ship together. And then this is not where you spend multiple days at sea. You're just going to be island hopping in the French Polynesian islands. Can you imagine? You're going to spend a couple of days in Moorea and a couple of days in Bora Bora. And this ship has, what do they call it? It's a water platform. So it is like, you just go to the bottom level and they'll fit you for your own wetsuit, if it's a shorty wetsuit, to be comfortable in the water for hours at a time. And then they have a dock right off the ship, and they supply stand-up paddleboards and kayaks and zodiacs and this great big water raft. And so we're going to dock in the middle of nowhere in the beautiful ocean of Bora Bora, and you're just going to play in the ocean, just like you were 15 years old, but doing it at whatever age and enjoying fun in the sun. Come back on, eat a great snack, go back out, do it all over again with 300 other friends that are enjoying the same lifestyle.
Well, I need to jump in there, and I need to say somehow we have to figure out how Frank, VLynn, and myself need to go as the production team for the podcast and interview people on the, I just think that makes perfect sense. But
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah. But what I do want to say is, when you mentioned what WinStar is really doing to look at how to be environmentally friendly, I think that's really important for people to dial into, because nowadays we can't deny that the world is upside down. And with the NHA, you are doing things to put things right, if you will, not only with people's health, but with the environment and with the animals. And that's what I love about what's being brought to the conference this year, is that, we've got Jean Bauer, who is with Farm Sanctuary, talking about animal sanctuaries. And that's a big part of the conversation. So what I get so excited about is to see the changes that are happening one person at a time, one conference at a time, one podcast show at a time. But really, Wanda, I do think that you need to bring the whole production team on these cruises, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm really solid on comping the experts. I like that idea quite a bit, actually, going to Tahiti. That kind of works for me. Yeah, I want to address what you said too, Kathleen, because look, I've been taking care of people for decades, and when people are ill, we tend to be very self-centered about our own personal health and our diet, and of course, it's a concern because we're afraid when we're not feeling well of what's going on, that kind of thing. But the bottom line is, the fact of the matter is, when we really look at the repercussions of what this is about, we find that the bottom line is that we need to be concerned for something outside of our own vested interest. And the true evolution of health is understanding that the choices we make for personal health are impacting everything around us, and we need to really take the reins of that responsibility. And I don't know any place that does it better than these conferences and this association. And so that's one of the things that makes it so near and dear to my heart. And I wanted to point out again, I'd love for you all to address this again. I've had the input from people that have done the virtual conferences before, and I know it's even going to be better, that this association, the NHA, makes these conferences in a way where the virtual experience, you really feel like you're there. I really want you to emphasize the fact that this is no disconnection. It's like sometimes you think you're going to look at something on Zoom and it's kind of like there's so much done to engage the home audience or the online audience that I don't know of anybody that does it as well as this organization. So can you speak to that way that you really are roping in and really bringing people into this personal, intimate experience?
Absolutely. And I'm going to let VLynn really showcase what the technical side of things would be for the conference. But I will tell you, having done Zoom meetings long before Zoom was a thing, before the pandemic hit, I was doing a lot of online virtual events. And this is not your typical Zoom meeting. This is going to be an actual experience. And VLynn will get into the details of that. But we've got exhibitors that will be showcasing the exhibitors. We're going to have chats going on throughout. We're going to have you being able to see the doctors that are there. And what I love about the NHA is that you had mentioned this, Wanda, that we rub elbows with our heroes, if you will. When I first went plant-based nearly 5 years ago, and then I identified as a vegan about 6 months into it, and there is a distinction, but I read all the greats. I read Dr. Fuhrman, Dr. T. Colin Campbell. You name a book, I've probably read it. You name a documentary, I've probably seen it. and then to go to the conference, and my neck is getting strained because I'm looking around going, oh my gosh, there's Dr. Fuhrman, there's Dr. Campbell, there's this doctor, there's that doctor, and then Dr. Frank Sabatino, the amazing doctor. Seriously, I'm so excited that I have been able to actually meet these people real time. And with the virtual event, you'll be able to actually see these people real time. And it is a real time event. So with that, VLynn, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about more of the technical side of what's going on.
Well, I'm excited about it all because I experienced the exact same thing, Kathleen, having interviewed a lot of these doctors, Dr. Fuhrman, Dr. Colin Campbell, I mean, these pioneers in this space who have been doing this work for the last 40, 50 years, setting not only the groundwork, being the at the forefront, because what I've learned is that this has been an uphill battle. To have this message shared has not been well accepted. And we know why, because the big money that has stopped a lot of these conversations has been one step ahead, and it has really made it difficult. Yet they've persevered. And to be able to stand side by side with them, having met Dr. Columbus Batiste and, just the people who are a part of this space, that seeing them virtually is one thing, and it's a great experience. You're going to be able to, we're going to try and wrangle them to the side on occasion to speak directly to the virtual audience. So you want to be there. You want to be there to see not only the presentations, but what happens in between the presentations, what happens before the schedule begins, after the schedule is over. You want to be a part of all of this too. Some of these pieces will be recorded along with all of the presentations. Some of them will not. And then, can I tell you about the virtual exhibitor booths? These expo booths are going to be a place where you can meet the exhibitors up close and personal. You can meet with them one-on-one. You can meet with them in a group and allow them to talk to you about what it is that they have to offer in this space. You're going to find out about new technology that's happening in this space, new healthy lifestyle services that are being offered, new communities that are being started. Oh my gosh. One of the things that really hit me hard was, I'm in this space, I'm eating this way, and nobody around me does. What do I do? And I learned that there are pods, right? Plant Pure communities have pods, that there are people that are eating this way, that are living this way, that are sharing this message amongst themselves. We just have to find them. And I have to say too, that before the pandemic, it was a movement forward. The pandemic actually shut a lot of it down. Well, guess what? These pods are coming back. We're going to have a lot of the pod leaders from all over the country at the conference who will be doing a special event. And we're going to be wrangling them to the side to talk to the virtual audience as well. We're going to give you resources that you'll be able to find others in your local community. And guess what? If you can't find them, be the one to start one. And we're going to help you to figure all of that out too. It's really, I've been in the virtual environment since 2010. And I have to tell you that where we are today is a decades-long jump to VR, to Meta, and what we're going to be experiencing on the virtual side is going to give you an opportunity to participate in a virtual environment like you have not before. Live chat. You're going to be able to network one-on-one with each other. You've got a friend coming and you see them there in the audience. All you have to do is connect with them and you can meet with them one-on-one. You can meet with new people. This is an opportunity for you to expand your personal network so that you can expand your personal net worth, both physically, mentally, spiritually, and learn about all this good food that's coming into play too. And, I have to go back to this whole Tahiti thing. It's been on my bucket list. And Wanda, I just want to put it out there. If we can figure out a way that the production team can do something that's really going to make this be the trip that shows the world how to travel in the future, we need to do that.
I'm going to say you will be shocked at how affordable. One of the very cool things that happens because we are booking 2 years out, we're being told by lots of different cruise lines that just like the airlines maybe 6 to 10 months ago took a bump in prices and it's much more expensive to fly, the cruise lines haven't really caught up. But in June, they're going to be taking a bump, some of them in May, and we're locked in. And so you can go, I'll give you a not even an entry level, just a midline, 7 days. You're beautiful. They're all suites. This isn't a tiny little dorm room style. You walk in, you have a walk-in closet, a bathroom with double sinks. You have a living room area, a bedroom area. Some of them have windows. Some of them have these French balconies. $3,500 a person, 7 days, cabin, all this food, entertainment in the evening, out on the water platform, all of that's included, and you're there. Take 2 people and you share a cabin, and they are making it very affordable. Lisa McCarl has done a great job locking in rates so that many people can come. We realize not everybody is going to be able to do this. But we would much rather have the people that are spending their money and doing this kind of travel, doing it in an environmentally friendly way where they can live the healthy lifestyle, as opposed to some of these ships. I mean, that might be your vibe. God bless you. If it is, you can do it. But some of them are rolling cities with casinos and boardwalks and 5,000 people on board, and it's like a cattle call. On the Windstar cruise, the whole staff is going to know you by first name within 24 hours of you being on board. They are just amazing. They do things like, you're not going to find water bottles all over. You're going to find pitchers of fresh water delivered to your room with glasses every single day. And as you know, they're not dumping in the ocean. They have storage containers, and they can dispose of waste in environmentally friendly ways when they get back to port. There are so many things they are doing to make it as affordable as possible, considering it's a small boutique ship with high level quality service. The produce, when I went with another cruise line similar, Lindblad, to the Galapagos Islands this year, I watched, and I've seen this on Windstar as well. They have these Zodiac boats, and you see them going to the island when we dock somewhere, and they're bringing back cartons and crates of bok choy and Swiss chard and local produce, and they're giving you whatever the culinary, if it's Caribbean flair, if it's Indian flair, if it's Asian flair, they're doing what so many of us do. They're figuring out how to make that culture and those foods available as a whole food, plant-based, SOS-free option. They're making connections with farmers on these islands and giving us farm-to-table experiences. They're bringing locals from there to do shows on the island. So
That's
you're
remarkable.
getting
Wow.
a true local experience.
Remarkable. It's just remarkable, truthfully. Well, ladies, as we wind this down, I'd like to give you the opportunity, each of you, to share any final thoughts you may have with the people watching this. So start with you, Kathleen. We can go around.
Well, thank you, Frank, and thank you, Wanda and VLynn. This has been delightful. And, Wanda, I want to emphasize one point you brought up about Windstar, is that they're very environmentally friendly. I mean, I don't think we can showcase that enough, because a lot of the cruise lines, they dump stuff into the ocean, right. And, we're losing a lot of our sea life. And this is something that we do need to bring the light of day to. And so if you're really concerned about the environment and you want to take these types of trips, check it out. With the conference, I want to remind people, not only do you get the ticket to the experience, we're going to have the exhibitors there. We have a swag bag. We got some great stuff in the swag bag, some coupons. We've got some digital products. And that's all bonus to you getting your ticket. And we also have a raffle where people are donating prizes so that we can actually raise money for the NHA, because the NHA is a nonprofit. And one thing we didn't even mention was the pricing. With an event like this, you would expect to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to go to this event virtually or in person. For the virtual event, hold on to your seats here. It's only $97. $97 for the entire experience. It's unbelievable. So I encourage people to go to the URL that you see across the screen at the bottom. It's bit.ly actually go to healthscience.org and look down at the pull down menu for the event, and you can find the event. But I encourage you, sign up, because you're going to network with some amazing people. Wanda, you and Mark are doing a phenomenal job with the organization. Frank, you're an amazing podcast host. The more I get to know you, the more I love you. And this is just truly a delight. VLynn, you know that I just so much enjoy working with you on all these different projects. So with that, I encourage people, sign up. Don't think about it. Just get your ticket, because you will be so happy that you did. So with that, Frank, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, anybody else? Some final words? VLynn, Wanda, anybody?
I'll go. There's one other benefit of coming virtually, Kathleen, that we really haven't shared with a lot of our audience. So I do something, Mark does this primarily at the end of our conferences we've been doing for a couple of years. To thank you for coming to our event and supporting the National Health Association, we offer a VIP discount rate that you only get if you're in person or virtually. Monday, the conference is over, you will never see that rate again. So as a virtual attendee, if you're thinking you want to come back next year, or if you're thinking you want to come live next year, which happens to a lot of people, you will get a discount rate that may cover the price of your ticket or a good portion of it.
Excellent. And I do want to say that the $97 is only until a certain date. You may be listening to this after that date, and it's going to be going up. So if you hear it and it's $97, you better grab your ticket before they go up. So just wanted to give you that.
Absolutely. And I'll just chime in on that too. To not repeat what you've already heard, this is an amazing opportunity. And Wanda, you and Mark have just brought this entire conference to a whole nother level. For others, for those of you who are considering it, stop considering, just do. With the exhibitors, the swag bag, the raffle, the camaraderie that you will experience, it's all going to be worth it. I mean, hands down. But I also want to talk about one other thing that didn't get mentioned, and that's the NHA membership. The NHA is a nonprofit organization established to educate people about this whole food, plant-based diet and lifestyle. And their membership is, I want to say, mind-boggling, because if you don't have it already, if you have not renewed because you didn't before, get it now, because it's only $35 US for the year. And what you get is amazing. For quarterly magazine, print magazines, and digital access, and so much more, like early bird knowledge of things that the NHA is doing. And one of the things that I'm excited about is we're already talking about other events that the NHA is going to be doing to help to bring this education to another level. And I can't say enough, if you have not gotten your ticket, whether you do it before the price increases or after the price increases, it's still a no-brainer to do. Get your ticket, join us, see what it's all about, and then decide if you want to do it again virtually next year, or take it up a notch and come to the live event, because either is really going to be a place that you're going to want to be for this year and years to come. So Frank, back to you.
I just really want to thank you all. I'm just incredibly grateful to have had this time with all of you. And I want to really thank you for sharing your hearts, your expertise, your vision for the kinds of things that are necessary for our future to change in the direction we want it to go. And I encourage everyone, this is my little input, and I'm going to echo some of what was said. I encourage you, yes, definitely to join this organization. There's nothing like it. It has nothing, and one of the things that always appealed to me is that it has really nothing to sell other selling you on yourself, the power, the autonomy you have to make choices that give you the greatest opportunity to be the best version of yourself, and also to create and support the best version of the planet that we live on. And there's nothing like this organization to do that. And I truly encourage you, and the URL you'll see in the show notes, to join the conference. If you can't be there in person, definitely enjoy this virtual experience. There's nothing like it. And I want to really thank the audience out there that joined us today, because without you, I can't do this. We can't do any of this without you. And I want to really thank you for being part of this incredible, wonderful, healthy, and happy community of the NHA. And on behalf of the National Health Association, I'm your host, Dr. Frank Sabatino, and I truly look forward to being with you on the next episode of the Health Science Podcast. You've been listening to the Health Science Podcast, brought to you by the National Health Association. Thank you for joining us today and for your commitment to evidence-based health science that backs a whole food, plant-exclusive lifestyle and contributes to the well-being of all people, animals, and our environment. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Sabatino. Be sure to leave a rating and a review, and we'll see you on the next show.